And here's your clapper.
Awesome.
I've loved movies pretty much my entire life. I love going to the cinema, and I love the experience of watching films. I have very strong memories of coming home from school when I was living in LA and watching Star Trek after school. I remember watching Batman, the 66 series, in reruns. So I was very heavily influenced by superheroes and science fiction from a very young age. In 2007, I decided to get a new Macintosh, and I also got an iPod. And I discovered podcasts, which I knew nothing about. I didn't know that this was actually a subgenre of stuff, and I thought, this is kind of interesting. And I started listening to podcasts and getting quite obsessed by podcasts, actually, thinking, wow, anything is possible. And so I started getting this fantasy in my head going, well, all a podcast is a radio show where people who have an opinion voice their opinion. And I thought, well, I have opinions and I have a Mac. So I started thinking, could I do this of my own? And the sort of podcasts I was listening to were a bunch of people sitting around the table talking. And I thought, I kind of like that idea. I kind of like the idea of a bunch of people sitting around the table, like-minded people, talking about a particular subject and sharing that with the world. And Geek actually was born, and that's how it kind of came about. Hello everybody, and welcome to Geek Actually, episode 49 for the 28th of August 2009. And I am joined in studio by Josh Philpott. How are you, Josh?
I'm good, man.
After we've been running the show for a while, we met Richard Gray. And Richard ran a site called The Real Bits.
I started talking to these guys. It was clear that we were both sort of talking the same geek language.
And we just really hit it off. We kind of were very much on the same kind of wavelength, and I said we should really talk more. Eventually, like most people I meet, I said, do you come on the show? Because that was kind of what I did. And he said, sure. And it was a fun show, and he made us laugh. And we basically got Richard on more and more often because we just all hit it off quite well.
Couldn't get rid of me.
All right.
Richard stayed with us over where the podcast went into some turbulent territories. It's when we kind of put a hold on most of the shows because we just didn't, it was hard to schedule. I had started working, funnily enough, at Apple. I lived a lot further away from everybody, and so it kind of broke everything up a little bit. And so I just kind of went, okay, look, let's just stop all the podcasts except for one. We kept doing one. And that was when we came up with the idea of doing the comic book podcast.
And welcome to Behind the Panels, issue 101, the comic book show that killed Archie.
The comic book podcast was easy because it was just Richard and I. And when we started it, Richard was just on Skype. And so we could just get together and we could do this on Skype conversations. And that stayed that way for a little while until Richard decided that he didn't want to be on Skype anymore. He had to be in studio. And it was during panels that we met Dave Longer.
I'm David Longer.
And we hit it off with Dave. And he came on as a regular for the second half of Behind the Panels. And he was there, one of our mainstays.
And welcome to Behind the Panels, issue 109, the comic book show that's coming to you live from Oz Comic Con. Can I hear some noise? Woo!
I think for me, the culmination of it all, the moment that we knew we'd really made it was when we did our live show at Oz Comic Con. We actually got guest creators from the creators panels, and they came over and did the shows with us, and we did two shows. This one on Saturday and one on Sunday. And we drew a big audience. It was actually a lot of fun.
I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite things that we ever did.
These are people who'd listened to the show, and suddenly we were meeting them face to face.
Some people turned up wearing our faces on their t-shirts.
I thought that was kind of cool. It was just amazing. It made us all feel a bit like we were a family. One of the things that came out of podcasting was in getting to know Josh and then Richard and then Dave, I've made really good friends. And like to this day, Dave and Richard and I go to the movies a lot. You know, we at one point every Saturday it was movie night. We'd just go off to the movies, and I've got a chat room open with Richard right now as we speak. so you know,
the show was always an excuse to hang out. That's what it was for us, and that's why it was so much fun, because it was us talking about the stuff that we talked about when we weren't being recorded, but we just happened to record it.
And I think that's the one thing that will last now that the podcasting is over. I've still got the friendships I can look back on.